Jake, why do you think the futures are up so sharply after the big gains we saw yesterday?
Good morning. I think that the futures are celebrating the fact that we're not going to have a blue wave in Washington, which clearly the market was pricing in if there's going to be a blue wave, tighter regulation, increased taxes. And now that we are going to perhaps see a split Washington, in other words, more gridlock in Washington with the Republicans at least holding on to the Senate at this point, it means that there'll be a buffer to those things. Unfortunately, I think it also means that we won't see a really large stimulus package. So if we are caught in a situation here where Biden becomes president, and as we both know, he campaigned on how he would handle COVID, that probably means a more restrictive economy going forward. And without a really large stimulus package, I've got real concerns about how the markets trade from here.
So are you selling into these advances in the market?
Look, I think we're going to sit here and wait it out and see who ultimately ends up in the White House. But again, if Biden becomes president, I think we can foresee a really restrictive economy going forward. And that's going to mean that a lot of businesses are going to contract again. We're going to see increases in unemployment. We're going to see a correction. But, I think we're pretty well positioned in that we continue to have this pandemic portfolio in place, which is loaded with healthcare and technology. And I think just like we wound the clocks back this weekend, we'll have to wind the clocks back to March. And the very same companies and sectors that have led the market up to this point this year will lead the market again for the foreseeable future. But there will not be a broad-based market rally. It'll be specific sectors.
Jake, you were on about 7-8 days ago. I don't remember when it was. And I remember it very clearly. And we asked you, what you saw happening. You said the status quo. And you thought that President Trump might be reelected and that the Senate would stay Republican. And I just look at the pollsters and look at everything else that's transpired. You might end up being wrong about the reelection by how many total votes. I mean, we still got how many states that are so close, so razor thin.
Yeah,
but you were so much more right than you were wrong, and so much more right than all the pollsters. I'm just trying to figure out, what you were thinking and why you would have the nerve, courage to say it on air. To the entire country. What were you? Go ahead.
I'm not wrong yet. So we'll see what happens here over the course of the next couple of days. I think that if you look back over history, let's go back 100 years. You've only had 4 presidents that didn't get a second term. You had Hoover, who was there during the stock market crash of 1929. You had Gerald Ford, who wasn't elected vice president or president. You had Jimmy Carter, who had the Iran hostage problem. Then you had Bush Sr. And so most of the time when the U.S. population elects someone president, they intend to give them 8 years to do their job. So I think that's one of the things I was looking at. It's just the history of this country and how they generally like to give a president 2 terms. The second thing I was looking at was how wrong the pollsters were in 2016 and how wrong I thought they were going to be again in 2020. All I can say is thank God we don't pick stocks and bonds using polls. We'd all be out of a job, and it'd be really hard for investors to make money.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.